Ladies and gentlemen, imagine standing at the edge of a mist-covered field where shadows twist into shapes you can't quite name. And every step forward feels like a question waiting to be answered. Would you turn back in fear, or step boldly into the unknown to uncover what lies beyond? Mystery has always carried within it a unique power, not merely to thrill or to scare, but to teach. When people encounter a mystery, whether in the form of a story, an event, or a personal struggle, they are drawn into a state of curiosity. Curiosity itself is a spark of learning, a flame that compels the mind to question, to probe, to look beyond the surface of appearances. In the presence of mystery, one cannot remain passive. It forces observation, patience, and the ability to hold uncertainty without losing focus. This is why mystery, though often wrapped in fear or confusion, becomes a profound teacher of life. The very act of moving through it requires strength of mind, discipline of thought, and an openness to possibility. In every mystery, there is a veil. Behind that veil lies truth, but the truth never reveals itself easily. It demands that the seeker engage in a process, a journey that mirrors our own struggles in real life. Each puzzle or riddle within a mystery represents the challenges we encounter in our daily existence. Sometimes the clues are scattered, hidden in plain sight, waiting for us to open our eyes wide enough to see. Sometimes they are buried deep, demanding patience and endurance to uncover. The act of piecing them together, step by step, teaches us resilience. It tells us that progress is often slow, but each small discovery brings us closer to understanding. Mystery, then, is not about sudden enlightenment, but about gradual growth, where the mind learns that persistence and trust in the process are what lead to revelation. Mystery also teaches humility. When standing before something unknown, we are reminded of the limits of our knowledge. It humbles the arrogance of certainty and compels us to admit that not everything is within our grasp at first glance. In life, this lesson is crucial. Many people are quick to judge, quick to assume they have the answers, but true wisdom comes from embracing what is not yet understood. Mystery cultivates that humility. It asks us to listen before we speak, to look deeper before we decide, and to accept that answers may come from unexpected places. This humility becomes a foundation for real strength. For those who admit they do not know are the ones most prepared to learn. Beyond humility, mystery strengthens the imagination. To solve what is hidden, one must think differently, step outside the ordinary, and consider possibilities others may ignore. Life, too, requires imagination to navigate. Problems often do not have straightforward solutions, and mystery trains the mind to see from new angles. Each twist in the unknown pushes us to think more creatively, to expand the boundaries of what we believe possible. The imagination sharpened by mystery becomes a tool for innovation, for courage, and for hope. It is the imagination that allows us to see light in the darkest moments and paths where none appear visible. Moreover, mystery builds patience. In a world that constantly demands instant results and quick gratification, mystery stands as a quiet rebellion. It refuses to be rushed. The unraveling of clues, the piecing together of fragments, takes time, and in that time the seeker learns the value of waiting, of allowing the answer to mature. Patience, in this sense, becomes a strength that prepares us for all other trials in life. The one who has walked through mystery knows that true understanding cannot be forced, and that endurance brings clarity at the right moment. This patience translates into daily life, where challenges are not solved by haste, but by steadiness. mystery also holds a mirror to courage. Often, the unknown brings fear. The shadow of uncertainty can paralyze, and yet those who step forward into mystery choose bravery over retreat. This is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move despite it. Life is filled with uncertainties, and fear is natural. But mystery teaches that courage is not about waiting for fear to vanish. It is about trusting that every step taken into the unknown brings growth, that even if the path is hidden, the act of moving forward itself creates light. Finally, mystery as a teacher reminds us that every answer we discover is not the end, but the beginning of a new journey. Solving one puzzle often reveals a deeper layer waiting to be understood. Life operates the same way. Each lesson we learn opens the door to another. Each success brings new challenges, and each truth uncovered broadens our view of the world. The wisdom gained from mystery is not stagnant. It is alive, continually urging us to grow, to seek, and to explore further. In this way, mystery teaches us that the process of learning never ends, and that to embrace the unknown is to embrace the very essence of life itself. Fear is one of the most universal human emotions, yet it often carries a misunderstood reputation. Many see it only as weakness, a force that paralyzes and diminishes. But in truth, fear is one of life's greatest teachers. When fear arises, it reveals the boundaries of our comfort zone, the limits of what we are willing to face. It does not exist merely to frighten us. It exists to test our strength, to push us beyond the walls we unconsciously build around ourselves. Fear is not an enemy, but a mirror. It reflects what matters most to us, what we value, and what we must overcome to grow into stronger, braver versions of ourselves. When a person encounters fear, their body reacts instinctively. The heart beats faster, breath shortens, and every sense sharpens. This biological response is not meant to weaken, but to prepare. It awakens the dormant reserves of energy and awareness inside us, forcing us to act. Whether the fear comes from a sudden threat, an uncertain future, or an unseen terror, it stirs something within that would otherwise remain asleep. In this way, fear becomes a catalyst. It activates a hidden strength, one that is not found in moments of comfort, but revealed only when circumstances demand it. Without fear, many people would never discover the full depth of their resilience. Fear also has the power to shape identity. Every time a person faces fear and chooses to act rather than retreat, they redefine who they are. They prove to themselves that they are not ruled by instinct alone, but by courage. It is in the very moment of trembling, when uncertainty whispers defeat, that the choice to step forward builds character. Each confrontation with fear becomes a stone in the foundation of confidence. The one who has stood in the face of dread and continued onward carries within them a memory that strengthens future battles. They know that though fear may return, they have endured before and can endure again. Furthermore, fear teaches clarity. In the midst of fear, priorities sharpen. The distractions of everyday life fade away, and what truly matters rises to the surface. This sharpening effect is invaluable, for it strips away illusions and forces us to focus. People often discover their greatest strengths and deepest values when standing before what terrifies them most. It may be the fear of failure, the fear of loss, or the fear of the unknown. But in that crucible, truth emerges. Fear becomes the test that reveals what a person cannot live without, and what they are willing to fight for, even against impossible odds. Fear also drives growth. Human beings are naturally drawn to comfort and safety, yet no growth can occur in a place where nothing challenges us. Fear pushes us to expand the boundaries of who we are. It forces us to attempt what we once thought impossible. The mountain climber standing at the base of a towering peak, the speaker preparing to face a vast audience, the individual confronting a personal demon, all feel fear. Yet in stepping into it, they find strength they never believed they had. Fear is not the barrier, but the door. Behind it lies transformation, and those who dare to walk through discover a new version of themselves, forged by trial and strengthened by courage. Equally important, fear teaches empathy. Every person knows what it means to be afraid, and in that shared experience lies the ability to connect. Those who face fear with honesty often become sources of inspiration for others, showing that it is not weakness to tremble, but strength to continue despite trembling. This shared humanity softens the heart, reminding us that courage is not about perfection, but persistence. Fear binds us together, for it is the common ground from which bravery grows. Fear also teaches faith, not necessarily in a religious sense, but faith in the unseen, in the possibility of victory, even when the odds seem overwhelming. In the darkness of uncertainty, fear demands that we trust in ourselves, in the lessons we have learned, and in the path that lies ahead, though it is not fully visible. It is easy to believe in strength when the way is clear, but fear teaches belief when the way is hidden. It teaches reliance on inner resources and resilience in the absence of certainty. This faith, once forged, becomes unshakable, a wellspring of calm in the storms of life. Ultimately, fear is not there to destroy us but to awaken us. It is the voice that says there is more within us than we realize, the signal that growth is near. By testing our strength, it gives us the chance to rise, to prove that courage is not the absence of fear, but the mastery of it. Fear is the test, but it is also the invitation to become stronger than we ever believed possible. Darkness and light have long stood as symbols of struggle, choice, and transformation. When darkness enters a person's path, it often brings confusion, fear, and despair. It represents those moments in life when nothing seems clear, when uncertainty clouds the mind and obstacles feel insurmountable. Light, on the other hand, is the spark of hope, the guiding force that restores vision and direction. Together, these forces create a dynamic tension that defines human growth. Without darkness, light would hold no meaning, and without light, darkness would consume. The interplay between them mirrors the reality of every life journey, where challenges are met with resilience and despair is answered with courage. When confronted by darkness, people are forced to recognize the limits of their strength and understanding. It might come in the form of personal loss, failure, or unseen threats that shake the core of stability. In such times, it is natural to feel swallowed by fear, to imagine that hope has been extinguished. Yet it is in these very moments that the first flickers of light begin to matter. A single glimmer, no matter how faint, has the power to change perception entirely. The smallest act of courage, the simplest insight, or even a reminder of one's inner strength can illuminate a path where before there was none. Darkness magnifies the value of light, teaching that even in despair, hope is never fully gone. This contrast also reveals the duality of human nature. Within every individual resides both shadow and brilliance. The shadow contains doubts, fears, regrets, and the capacity for despair, while the brilliance holds courage, compassion, and the will to rise. Life constantly calls upon us to choose between these two forces. When adversity strikes, the temptation to give in to the shadows can be strong, yet the presence of light within urges us to resist. This internal battle is where true strength is forged. Light cannot banish darkness forever, but it can remind us that even in the blackest night, choice still belongs to us. The relationship between darkness and light also teaches resilience. Light is not always immediate. Sometimes it must be sought. A person trapped in darkness learns that progress may come slowly, in small sparks that grow brighter with persistence. Each step taken in faith adds to the light, slowly carving a path out of despair. Resilience is not about ignoring the reality of darkness, but about refusing to remain within it. The individual who chooses to keep moving, to keep searching, becomes stronger with every small victory. And the light they create eventually shines, brightly enough to guide others, as well. There is also a lesson in perspective. Darkness has the power to distort, to make obstacles appear larger than they are and dangers seem closer than they may be. But light restores clarity. It shows the details hidden in shadow, revealing truth where imagination had painted fear. In life, challenges often feel overwhelming, not because of their true size, but because of the way darkness shapes perception. The introduction of light, the perspective of hope, wisdom, or courage, restores balance, reminding us that not everything is as impossible as it first appeared. This shift in perspective is often the turning point in any struggle. Moreover, darkness and light represent the rhythm of life itself. Just as night is followed by day, so too do seasons of difficulty give way to seasons of growth. This cycle teaches patience, the understanding that darkness is not permanent, and that light inevitably returns. Trusting this rhythm allows people to endure hardships with greater strength, knowing that the presence of darkness does not mark the end, but a passage toward a new beginning. The alternation of these forces ensures that life remains dynamic, that growth continues, and that lessons are learned in both hardship and relief. The interplay also brings out the best in human spirit. Those who carry light into dark places, through kindness, bravery, or wisdom, become beacons for others. One person's light can ignite another's, creating a chain of courage and hope that transforms entire communities. Darkness may seem vast, but it is fragile before even the smallest illumination. The courage of one individual can inspire many, proving that light is not only personal, but also collective, a force multiplied when shared. Ultimately, the presence of both darkness and light in life is not a curse but a necessity. Without facing shadows, people would never fully appreciate the brilliance of light. Without enduring hardship, the triumph of victory would hold no depth. Every struggle reveals not just the darkness of the moment, but the potential for light within the heart. This dance between despair and hope, weakness and strength, shadow and brilliance, is what shapes individuals into resilient souls, capable of facing the unknown with unwavering courage. Observation and awareness are among the most powerful tools a person can develop, though they often go unnoticed in their importance. To observe deeply is more than simply seeing with the eyes. It is the act of perceiving with the mind, of noticing details that others overlook, of sensing connections that are invisible to those who rush through life. Awareness, in turn, is the constant state of being present, tuned into both the external world and the inner self. Together, they form the foundation of wisdom and survival, not only in stories of mystery and danger, but also in the challenges of everyday life. When one learns to observe carefully, the world begins to reveal itself in unexpected ways. What might appear to most people as ordinary becomes layered with hidden meaning. A glance, a gesture, a pattern in behavior, or even the silence between words, can hold answers that change the entire picture of reality. Those who train themselves to notice such details often discover truths far earlier than those who dismiss them. Observation transforms a chaotic scene into a collection of meaningful clues, where nothing is wasted and everything carries significance. Life, like a mystery, rewards the eye that sees beyond the surface. Awareness, however, is not confined to looking outward. It also involves understanding oneself, recognizing one's emotions, thoughts, and instincts in the midst of uncertainty. When people lack awareness, they are easily swayed by fear, anger, or distraction. But with awareness, they can pause, reflect, and choose their actions with clarity. This balance between external observation and internal awareness is what allows a person to remain steady in times of chaos. It is not enough to see the world clearly. One must also see oneself clearly to act with purpose. The practice of awareness cultivates patience. In a society that demands speed and instant gratification, awareness slows the pace, reminding us that truth often reveals itself gradually. Those who are attentive learn to wait, to watch for the unfolding of events without rushing to conclusions. They understand that what seems obvious at first glance may conceal deeper layers of meaning. This patience not only leads to better decisions, but also nurtures resilience, for it teaches that not everything must be resolved immediately. In waiting, wisdom often grows. Observation sharpens intuition. As the mind collects details from the environment, it begins to form patterns, connections that others may miss. What some call instinct is often the result of countless subtle observations, processed unconsciously. The person who pays attention trains their intuition to be more reliable, turning it into a trusted guide in difficult moments. This blending of observation and intuition equips an individual to navigate uncertainty with confidence, even when facts are scarce. In this way, awareness bridges the gap between the seen and the unseen, between logic and insight. Observation and awareness also cultivate empathy. By truly noticing others, not just their words, but their expressions, tones, and silences, one begins to understand the unspoken depths of human experience. Awareness of another's struggles, even when they are not voiced, fosters compassion and strengthens connection. Those who practice awareness are better able to support, guide, and inspire others because they recognize needs before they are expressed. In this way, awareness becomes a tool not only for survival, but also for building meaningful relationships. Another lesson of awareness lies in the recognition of opportunity. Life is full of chances that pass unnoticed by those who are distracted or careless. The attentive person, however, sees doors where others see walls. They recognize potential in small beginnings, hope in overlooked details, and paths hidden in plain sight. By cultivating awareness, a person ensures that they do not miss the chances life places before them. Opportunities often come disguised as ordinary moments, but for the one who observes, they shine brightly as turning points. Awareness also brings peace. When people live unaware, they are tossed about by circumstances, constantly reacting without understanding. But when one is fully present, the chaos of life loses much of its power. The practice of awareness grounds the mind in the moment, allowing clarity to replace confusion. Even in the midst of difficulty, an aware person sees not only the problem, but also the possibilities for response. This calm perception turns challenges into manageable tasks, reducing the sense of overwhelm that often paralyzes others. In times of danger or uncertainty, observation and awareness become matters of survival. To notice what others miss is to prepare before the threat grows too great. To remain aware is to stay grounded when fear attempts to dominate. These qualities sharpen the senses and strengthen the spirit, ensuring that a person is not blindsided by the unexpected. Yet their value extends far beyond moments of crisis. They are equally powerful in the quiet decisions of everyday life. Every choice, every path, every connection becomes richer and wiser when guided by the steady light of awareness. Ultimately, observation and awareness teach that the world is never as simple as it first appears. Every moment holds layers of meaning, and every experience offers lessons waiting to be discovered. By training the mind to notice, by living with presence and clarity, one gains the ability to navigate life with wisdom, strength, and purpose. These skills turn the ordinary into extraordinary, the hidden into visible, and the uncertain into opportunity, shaping a life that is lived not blindly, but fully awake. Victory over the unknown is one of the deepest and most rewarding experiences a person can achieve. The unknown represents uncertainty, fear, and doubt. It is the vast space in front of us where answers have not yet been written and where outcomes cannot be guaranteed. Human beings often resist this space, preferring the comfort of what is familiar and predictable. But life inevitably pushes everyone into the territory of the unfamiliar. It may come through unexpected challenges, sudden changes, or mysteries that cannot be explained at first glance. In such moments, victory is not found in avoiding the unknown, but in confronting it with courage and persistence until clarity is born. The unknown is intimidating because it strips away control. When someone cannot see what lies ahead, their imagination fills the gap, often with worst-case scenarios. This tendency creates hesitation and fear, which can paralyze even the strongest individuals. Yet hidden within the unknown lies the opportunity for growth. The mind learns to adapt when it is challenged by uncertainty. Strength arises not from controlling every detail, but from trusting one's ability to navigate without certainty. Victory over the unknown is, therefore, not simply about discovering answers, but about discovering oneself, about realizing that the resources for survival and success already lie within, waiting to be awakened by challenge. The journey toward overcoming the unknown begins with a choice to step forward instead of retreating. Many times, the first step is the hardest, because it requires faith in unseen ground. But once that step is taken, the unknown begins to shift. What once appeared as a wall becomes a series of doors, each leading to a new possibility. Each action taken against fear diminishes its power. The unknown does not vanish, but it becomes less threatening, revealing itself to be a puzzle rather than a void. Victory comes not from the absence of uncertainty, but from learning to move through it with determination. Victory over the unknown also teaches resilience. Rarely does clarity come all at once. Instead, it is uncovered slowly, piece by piece. Every step forward reveals a little more of the path, and, with each revelation, strength grows. The process of facing the unknown demands persistence, for setbacks and obstacles are inevitable. Yet in enduring them, the individual becomes stronger. They learn that even when the way is unclear, continuing forward creates progress. Resilience is forged not in comfort, but in the willingness to withstand uncertainty until the light begins to show. The unknown also sharpens creativity. In the absence of clear answers, the mind is forced to think differently, to innovate, to find solutions where none are obvious. Many of humanity's greatest discoveries and achievements have come from stepping into uncharted territory. guided only by the courage to explore. This creativity is not reserved for grand endeavors alone, but applies to everyday life. When faced with challenges that have no clear solution, victory is achieved through flexibility, through the willingness to adapt and imagine new approaches. The unknown becomes a canvas upon which possibility can be painted, provided the individual is willing to engage it with imagination rather than fear. At its heart, victory over the unknown is also victory over doubt. Doubt whispers that failure is certain, that effort is wasted, that retreat is safer. To silence doubt requires belief. Not blind belief in guaranteed success, but belief in the value of trying, in the strength gained through effort, and in the worth of growth itself. Every time doubt is confronted, confidence deepens. A person learns to trust themselves, to believe that even if the outcome is uncertain, they have the capacity to face it. This quiet confidence becomes a shield against the weight of uncertainty, transforming fear into opportunity. The unknown also tests faith and timing. Often, answers do not arrive when expected. People want immediate resolution, but the unknown rarely surrenders its secrets so quickly. Victory is found in patience, in the willingness to continue, even when clarity lingers just beyond reach. This patience builds endurance, teaching that perseverance itself is a kind of victory. For when the unknown finally yields, it rewards not only with answers, but with the strength and character developed along the way. Furthermore, victory over the unknown inspires others. Every individual who dares to confront uncertainty becomes an example to those still trapped in fear. Their courage lights a path for others, proving that the unknown is not an abyss, but a challenge to be met. The story of one person's triumph becomes a beacon, encouraging others to take their own steps into uncertainty. Victory is never purely personal. It resonates outward, strengthening the community and showing that what seems impossible can, with determination, be overcome. In the end, the unknown will always exist, for life continually unfolds in ways that cannot be predicted. But to face it with courage is to transform it from an enemy into an ally, from a source of fear into a source of growth. Victory over the unknown is not about erasing uncertainty, but about rising above it, learning that strength is born in struggle. Clarity is revealed in persistence, and courage is proven in the moments when the path ahead is hidden. Being a detective of your own life means embracing the role of seeker, observer, and solver in the journey you walk each day. Just as a detective pieces together fragments of evidence to form a clear picture of hidden truths, every person must gather the scattered clues of their experiences, choices, and lessons to build meaning out of their existence. Life does not hand out answers directly. Instead, it offers signals, patterns, and hints. To ignore them is to stumble blindly, but to notice them is to discover purpose and direction. The art of living, then, is not about waiting for clarity to arrive, but about actively searching for it, connecting what appears separate, and revealing the truth hidden beneath the surface of daily events. Every moment in life carries with it some form of a clue. These clues may appear in the form of successes, failures, relationships, or even sudden challenges. A detective does not dismiss any detail, no matter how small, and in the same way, a person who wishes to understand their own path cannot afford to overlook what life places before them. A mistake becomes evidence of what to avoid next time. A victory becomes proof of inner strength, and even suffering becomes a lesson pointing toward resilience. The ability to treat experiences as clues transforms ordinary living into a meaningful investigation, where growth and understanding are the ultimate goals. To be the detective of one's life also requires awareness of patterns. Detectives know that a single event is rarely enough to tell the whole story, but when events repeat or align, a deeper truth emerges. Life, too, is full of recurring themes. Mistakes repeated until learned, opportunities that return until seized, lessons that resurface until understood. By recognizing these patterns, one begins to see the direction in which life is urging them to grow. Awareness of these recurring signals prevents stagnation, for it allows a person to break destructive cycles and embrace paths that lead to strength and fulfillment. Another part of living as one's own detective lies in asking questions. A detective never accepts appearances at face value. They probe deeper, they question motives, and they search for the reasons behind every occurrence. Similarly, a meaningful life is built on inquiry. Why am I drawn to certain choices? What can I learn from this hardship? How do my actions today shape my tomorrow? By asking such questions, a person refuses to live passively. They become active participants in their journey, peeling away layers of illusion to uncover the truth beneath. Each question asked is like a lantern, casting light into the shadows of uncertainty. Being a detective also demands persistence. Rarely does a case solve itself quickly, and rarely does life reveal its meaning without effort. Answers come through patience, through trial and error, and through the determination to keep moving, even when clarity is not immediate. Persistence ensures that setbacks do not become permanent barriers. A detective may fail in one approach, but they adjust, they re-examine, they continue. In life, this persistence allows individuals to rise after failures, to learn from detours, and to see obstacles not as endings, but as part of the evidence leading them to a greater understanding. Intuition plays a vital role as well. A detective learns to trust the quiet voice within, the subtle pull toward a certain conclusion or path. In life, intuition is shaped by experience, awareness, and inner reflection. It is that sense that something is right or wrong even before logic explains it. To live with intuition is to trust in one's inner compass, to follow the gentle nudges of the heart when the mind is clouded by doubt. Intuition, when combined with careful observation, becomes a reliable guide through the unknown twists of life. A detective must also remain objective, separating fact from illusion. Similarly, in life, awareness of truth requires honesty with oneself. People often create false stories, excuses for mistakes, justifications for poor choices, or illusions of control. But a detective of life must strip away these deceptions, no matter how uncomfortable, in order to grow. Honesty becomes the sharpest tool in solving the mystery of self, for without it, the picture that emerges will always be distorted. At the same time, living as one's own detective involves imagination. Mysteries are not solved by logic alone. They demand creativity, the ability to see connections others might dismiss. Life, too, requires this kind of vision. When the path seems blocked, imagination reveals alternate routes. When fear clouds possibility, imagination paints pictures of what could be achieved. To imagine is to expand beyond limitations, to consider that life may hold more possibilities than the present moment suggests. Ultimately, being the detective of your own life means refusing to drift aimlessly. It is the commitment to treat every moment as meaningful, every experience as instructive, and every challenge as part of a greater puzzle waiting to be solved. It is about piecing together failures and triumphs, fears and strengths, shadows and light, into a coherent picture of growth. Each clue brings greater clarity. Each step forward uncovers more truth. And each revelation deepens the understanding of who you are and what you are becoming. To live this way is to embrace life, not as a random sequence of events, but as an unfolding mystery, where you hold both the questions and the ability to discover the answers. In the end, the mysteries, fears, darkness, awareness, victories, and clues we encounter are not just elements of strange stories or distant adventures. They are mirrors of our own journey. Life itself is the greatest mystery, and each of us walks through its shifting shadows with the task of seeking truth, courage, and meaning. Fear rises to test us. Darkness challenges us to shine. Awareness sharpens our vision. The unknown invites us to grow. And every clue pushes us closer to understanding who we are meant to become. To live fully is to embrace this path as both detective and hero, to uncover hidden lessons, to rise above doubt, and to illuminate the world around us with the light we discover within. The real story is not only in the horror on the links of some far-off tale, but in the courage we summon when facing our own battles, and the wisdom we carry forward when we choose to see life as a mystery worth solving.